resident, and proud to be here as part of the Save Sharks Cove Coalition to welcome you here tonight to this community update. I want to talk a little bit about why we're here, a little bit about past, present, and future. So why we're here, it's billed as a community update because the community deserves good information and updated information. And you'll meet other members of the organizing committee of the Alliance. What we have found in all the various conversations we've had with neighbors and friends is that people think it's already a done deal. And actually, I think Rex and Corey maybe ran into somebody recently who started to cry when they realized that it's not a done deal yet. So we're here to provide you the information you need to help make it happen. And as you saw from some of the tables outside, according to Mayor Blangiardi from the town hall, it's a doable thing, right? So chant with me. It's a doable thing. It's a doable thing. It's a doable thing. We can do this. This community has been engaged in so many community-led initiatives, right? And they eventually succeed, but not without hard work, not without support of our elected officials, the administration. So it's also a CACO thing. The developer who currently owns the property would like to develop a 32,500 square foot retail shopping mall on site. The plans are right back there on the back wall. Those are the plans. And to do that, the developer went through an EIS process. I brought, and somewhere out there, copies of EIS. A lot of you participated in commenting on the EIS. One of the things that the EIS showed by their own consultants is that wastewater from the project would leach into the tide pools in the cove, and that deeply concerns those of us who care about that place. Then in 2018, when the EIS was done, the developer went to the city council. The chair at the time was Ernie Martin, and persuaded the city council to approve a special management area, which is basically the development permit. So that was approved in late 2018. Save Sharks Cove Alliance, Cora as an individual, Larry as an individual, and John Teals as an individual. They are our heroes. They were willing to stand up and be plaintiffs on behalf of the community and sue our friends at the city and sue the developer to try to invalidate that special management area permit. So there was litigation. We ended up about a year or so later settling. And so all of a sudden, did you see like planters went up on the property and the activity along the highway got pushed back and things quieted down? That was because the community put those conditions in the settlement agreement. The settlement agreement has a lot of provisions in it. It's not a secret that we don't think they're being complied with. We are still pursuing that battle. You can talk to us about that privately, but there is still an ongoing legal process. Let's put it that way. While that whole process was going on, in March, I think, of 2023, a former Ocean Safety Chief, John Titchen, and Dr. Ireland with HESD came to our Sunset Beach Community Association, some of you were there, and said, you guys need a first responder center. So that's our focus tonight. So I just wanted to provide you that history, and we're moving forward. Our focus is trying to get a first responder center on that site across from Sharks Cove. And you're gonna hear, thanks to our experts tonight, more about those details, but it's really important that you absorb them and learn them and share them because it is not a done deal. We have a ways to go, but with your support, we can do this. It's a doable thing. It's a doable thing. It's a doable thing. All right.
Retention of the rural character was the single most important issue for the North Shore community. I think we all agree with that.
This map here visualizes where existing ambulances are stationed along our coastline. So we're very fortunate to have one in Haleiwa town across from that preschool. We're very fortunate to have one in Kahuku next to the fire station and the police station. And then the Sharks Cove location would be perfectly located, roughly 10 minutes drive in between those two pre-existing stations. So anyone, I see Jesse out here, any other first responders will be able to attest to 10 minutes can make a huge difference, and actually 30 seconds, 1 minute can make a difference. And so for anyone in our community, reducing that travel time from either the Haleiwa ambulance station or the Kahuku fire station, as Mark Cunningham stated, can make the difference between a successful outcome. I do want to state that I think we're all super grateful to our Ocean Safety Division, we're super grateful to our Emergency Services Division, but they've already stated that they would love to improve the services that they provide to the public. So I think that we're using their enthusiasm and their existing great work to say, hey, let's do some more of that directly in our community. Phase one would involve utilizing some of the existing buildings there. I think Denise gave a great overview of some of the existing buildings. People may remember going to the dentist there, the old real estate office. So some of those structures could be utilized on a short-term basis as the area where an ambulance could park there, plug in for electricity, whatever is needed. So a very low impact right off the bat within 2024 to 2027 would make a lot of sense to immediately get those services out in our community. And then just to very briefly highlight phase two, the time frame that we're trying to understand from City Council and Director Island, I'm sure knows more, working alongside Ocean Safety and the mayor's budgeting process. Phase two would involve brand new buildings, roughly the same footprint, but we want to provide world-class facilities for the lifeguards and the paramedics and EMTs that basically are saving lives on a daily basis for our community. They deserve the best, and that will make it so that they can deliver their services in an even better way, and a way for our community to acknowledge their hard work and the value that they provide. So you see an area for the jet skis, an area for the lifeguards, trucks, and really kind of upgrading the existing facilities that they already have. You might be familiar with the facilities down at Rockpile. The beauty of the whole situation is that the Sunset Beach Fire Station is directly across the street. Many of us have run into situations when you're trying to describe to someone where you can go to go get help. So this location will be a great way if someone needs help and they can drive directly and get services either from lifeguards, fire, or ambulance. And so I'm just really grateful for everyone's hard work putting together these visualizations, because I think it helps as we move through these discussions when we're having the community try and explain not only to our public agencies but also to the private landowner the value that this property can serve in terms of serving the public, serving residents, and saving lives, and the legacy that it will leave for that family that's the current landowner. So we're really excited about the possibilities and grateful for everyone who's helping provide these visualizations that can help build the momentum that everyone's been working really hard for in the last decades or so. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and keep up the great work, everybody.
Language not being complied with. And I just want to ask you, what percentage of the customers on that site right now do you think are local? Shout it out. 10%. Community knows it's community, yeah?
I think our biggest role is to ensure, whether it's this project or any project, right, that there's funding in the budget to support what the community needs, right? And so that's why we put in funding into this year's budget to support planning and design for First Responders Hub. And we've had conversations with admin since then, Mayor's Chief of Staff, and the directors about how we can either release those funds or find other funding sources to begin that process and looking at where a First Responders Hub could go.
So having an ambulance here will definitely service this community for the snorkeler who gets hurt in Sharks Cove, for someone with chest pain in the community, for the car accident. But more importantly, so you don't have to wait for these guys, but then if these guys go out, you don't have to wait for this guy or for this guy. You get the next closest ambulance. Because right now, if there's a call in here, one of these two is coming. And if they go to Wahiawa or they go to Castle, they're going to be out of the area for a long time. So geographically, we want an ambulance here. From my standpoint, I think we can get the funding through council and the mayor to build this facility for EMS and for ocean safety. I think the biggest question is can we get it on Sharks Cove? I think, that's the biggest question. And, you know, I think that the short answer is I think the landowner has to be willing to sell. And that I understand is the sticking point. So,
Now, my understanding, my question is, when you were saying, I was in the understanding when I guess, reading the paper and everything, that he was willing to sell. So I guess I'm lost at that is because it was in the paper that said he was willing to sell.
Yeah,
What happened?
yeah.
Where did that go wrong, or what is it, too much money, what do we, just question what happened?
So, yeah, again, I don't wanna speak for Mayor, but I'll just share what, was talked about at the town hall, right? And I think he's engaged in conversations. I saw the article, there's a few articles on it, but I know one specifically where the owner had mentioned not getting an offer. Talking to Mayor and what he shared publicly, I think it's been relayed that at this point, the owner wasn't interested in selling. Is not interested.
I think we have to also know that he's had that property up for sale twice since it was purchased 10 years ago. Months after he purchased it, it was for sale, and after that, a year or two, again, he had it for sale. So in the last 10 years, that property's been up for sale 2 times.
So can we go to the mayor? What is it we can do to push, to make sure this is happening, this conversation is happening?
So-
We do have a call to action, but I'm gonna have
Yeah.
Councilmember Wire respond first.
Well, I'll just throw in, Mayor, I think, has made a good faith effort. He said he's talked to the owner, I think, 4 times, something like that. And so, I think in terms of other options, I mean, we can look at different legal options. But in terms of it, where we are at this point, if we're looking for a location, I think for me, it's making sure that we have funding to specifically purchase this, right?
Correct.
But then also, aside from wherever it's gonna go, start the planning process.
Yeah, my name's Terry Lilly. Quick question, but I want to thank this person right over here first, because I had a heart attack right over here 2 years back, and your people kept me alive, and we had to go all the way to Straub Hospital.
yeah, I'm here tonight.
I know, and I'm here tonight, and the whole way I'm going, I pray, I pray, I pray. So having somewhere close by would be very beneficial.
In the developer's own environmental impact statement, and there's a copy around here somewhere, the studies of the geophysics and the subsurface of those 3 parcels and of Sharks Cove predicts with this development, of course it'll never be built, but if it's ever built, leaching of nitrogen and phosphorus between 4 to 6% into the tide pools. And that may not sound like a lot, but there's sensitive areas. And imagine if I went down with a bucket every day and I just dumped that in there, you would arrest me, right? So that's the projection from the thousands of tourists that will use that wastewater system. This, what we hope to build there is a much smaller footprint. There's only a few staff there every day. It's teeny, even compared smaller than what's there now. So that's a partial answer to your question. Yes, that project will have a detrimental impact on the marine life by their own studies.
And, you know, I've been involved in this fight for almost 10 years now, and I've been to multiple meetings and events and city council where the developer has stood right there and said, they're all about the community, all about the community. We grew up here, all about the community. Well, I'm saying that if you're all about the community, sell this property, put the property where your mouth is and do something for the community.
So the land is owned by an LLC called Hanapohaku LLC. The principals of that corporation are Andrew Yanni and his wife is Julie Judd, and Cully Judd, you know, who had his beach house out here. Cully was a principal with Andrew Yanni, but sadly Cully has passed away, as has Carol. So the principal behind the project is Andrew Yanni, and there's a gentleman named Michael Hodge who's the project manager, but the ownership is Onapohaku LLC, and you can see that on the plans in the back. Listeners.
I have a question about possibly not protesting necessarily, but just giving the environmental impact study to DPP, possibly before they start to even look at plans for this mall. If we can all kind of like massively do that as well, is that an option?
You raised a good point, which we haven't mentioned, which is DPP has been processing the building permits with those plans for many years, and we keep hearing rumors that they're gonna come out at any day. We don't know that that's true. So DPP already did review and approve the EIS that I mentioned. We sued because we didn't think that approval was proper. So we did exactly what you said, and that resulted in litigation, the settlement that we're still trying to enforce.
I've heard that the city brought up the fact that they already own the 30 or 33 acres Malka of Cam Highway right adjacent to the school. Has there been an argument, why should we buy Sharks Cove when we already have this property? Has that come up, or is that?
Well, I mean, internally, when I discussed this with the mayor, you know, just common sense is you take what's free versus what you have to pay for.
Right.
But because of the community, the swell of support for Sharks Cove, we just couldn't, in good faith, move forward with that without listening and trying this avenue. So that's why we're here. The cost to build is the same, but the property acquisition, hypothetically, well, I'm not even gonna say a number. Let's say it's X to buy the Sharks Cove property, and it's 0 for the next to Sunset Beach Elementary. There are ways I've learned to get funding that wouldn't necessarily come from the normal city budget. So the obstacle really is will the landowner sell? And then the next phase is getting the funding creatively to purchase the property. And I think we would have help with that. And then building a structure is the same whether it's site A or B. So this is driven by you folks, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're in government, to serve.
I can't reiterate enough that I think around the island we have the best lifeguards in the world. And we deserve facilities that we're able to do our job out of, and be able to store our equipment and not, when it rains, have it leak through onto our papers and computers and have stuff get broken into all the time. So we're the greatest lifeguards in the world. We don't have the greatest facilities in the